What do you think?
Whoa, very nice.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing. What do you think?
Nice.
But wait, you ain't seen nothing yet. White.
Impressive. Very nice.
Alright, Versus. What is Versus? Versus is a relatively new manga written by One, the author of One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100, and illustrated by Kiyotaro Azuma. The Versus manga is a very interesting take on One's writing ability because unlike the two creations we already know One for writing, One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100, the Versus manga is sort of like a breath of fresh air for manga readers from One because this isn't another overpowered character trying to find a good fight or find love. The Versus manga is in fact a fantasy-based manga in a world where the demon race have conquered most of the earth. Now we all know the author One, we all know what he's done and all of his previous work, but what about the manga illustrator Kiyotaro Azuma? Kiyotaro has authored a manga of his own called The King of Fighters: A New Beginning, which serialized from 2018 to 2020, and is illustrating another manga currently ongoing called Tenkaichi. Now if you were to go through Kiyotaro's work on other mangas, you would notice that his style of drawing is very action oriented. You can see the depth in every panel of his shadings. So he's a very good mangaka, very good illustrator. Now back to Versus now. I will be covering only chapter 1 in this video because I'll be covering 2 chapters every week. So chapter 1 and 2 this week so that I can catch up in 3 weeks because currently there are only 6 chapters out. So with all that said, let's get into it. Alright, now as I've mentioned earlier, the premise of the story is based in a fantasy world where the demon race, whom the manga refers to as an absolute predator to humans, have conquered most of the earth and has driven mankind to the brink of extinction. Now most of the earth has been taken over by demons, forcing mankind's few people left to assemble their strongest heroes to fight back against the demons. The manga starts at a castle where the king addresses the strongest heroes that have been assembled. The king gives a speech on how the demon race have subjected mankind to generations of suffering and that most of the world has fallen under the control of 47 demon kings, with the one standing above them all being the great demon king. The king goes on by saying mankind have now dedicated every last bit of their resources, time, technology and hope to train the strongest superhuman group, 47 heroes that have been assembled to oppose the 47 demon kings and their armies. Then we finally get to meet some of the characters in the heroes. Now before I continue, I just want to say I will probably butcher some of these names, so please don't kill me in the comment section. Boast, the 9th hero, Alicia, the 41st hero, and Fesaccio, the 23rd hero, to name a few, all talk about how it's a race to see who can beat their demon king first, as we learn that every hero will be assigned their own party. Lee One, another hero, tells the others to not underestimate the demon king's army, before Hallow, the 19th hero, mentions that everyone understands just how frightening the demon king's army is. He continues by saying some of the other heroes' personal experiences with the demon king's army. He says that when Boast was a kid, his village was destroyed by the demon army. Fesaccio lost his parents to the demon army, and Alicia lost his dearest lover in a similar way. He encourages his fellow heroes to be confident, which leads to us meeting our main character, Hallow, the 11th hero, and his support fairy, Pan, who's basically a pig with wings. Hallow was very nervous after hearing the king's speech, which causes Pan to question if they'll really be okay going into such a life-threatening quest. Pan says Hallow lacks flexibility but won't lose to anyone in terms of strength of heart. Then Ariel steps in to say that strength is the most necessary for a hero, leading to Ariel and Hallow to have a strong bond, as they promise each other that they'll defeat their demon kings and come back to celebrate together. The king then finally sends out all 47 heroes and their parties to fulfill their quest and save mankind. Now in the next panel, there's a bit of a time skip. Half a year has passed since the hero set out to stop the Demon King's army. Hallow and his party, after making the long and dangerous journey to reach their Demon King's castle, the 11th Demon King, received a letter telling them that several heroes had already failed their quest to defeat their assigned Demon Kings. Bolst, who we saw earlier, was now deceased. Fasashu was captured and being used as a lab animal. Alicia had lost her mind during her quest, and Lee-Won was also deceased, as well as Abyss. The letter makes some party members panic and overall makes everyone lose hope. The party complains on how there hasn't been a single good letter about anyone being successful in defeating their Demon King. Everyone ponders on what they should do next. The party had already reached their Demon King's castle, but now have lost all hope and the willpower to try and beat the demon army. Pan Pan packs up his bags to go back, saying the world is done for and that no one is dumb enough to face a fight they know they won't win. Hallow sees the last part of the letter saying Ario, the hero he promised to win, had failed to defeat his Demon King and had his whereabouts unknown. Everyone in the party was pretty much ready to quit, but of course, Hallow. Hallow thanked everyone for everything and said he'll defeat the Demon King Jachi alone. Hallow's sword of courage shined as he made his way to the Demon King's castle. Now, a sword of courage is the product of humanity's long history of magic research, and one was made for every hero. The sword reacts to the wielder's magic and willpower, and it's believed to be the only weapon that can harm a Demon King. With Hallow's confidence, the rest of the party decides to continue their journey towards the Demon King's Jachi's castle, with Pan Pan still set on going back until he realizes that going back alone would be too dangerous and impossible, forcing him to join the rest to the Demon King's castle. Hallow and his party make their way through the Demon King's castle without any opposition until they reach the Demon King's throne room. They find all the demons waiting for them there, along with the Demon King himself, Jachi. Jachi says he had been waiting for them and tells them that they could attack him as they wished without any other demon interfering. The Mage of the party was the first to attack with a giant flame magic spell of fire, only for it to literally be blown away by the Demon King, establishing that none of the party members were nearly on the same level as the Demon King Jachi. With a flick of Jachi's finger, the Mage was immediately sent flying and most likely killed by Jachi's attack before Hallow even noticed. The remaining members except Hallow collapsed looking lifeless under the dense magic coming from Jachi. Hallow, being the only one left, tried to attack Jachi several times but was unable to land a single hit with his sword of courage, Jachi even commending Hallow's good swordsmanship. Hallow tries an attack from above but was easily stopped by only 2 of Jachi's fingers. Hallow is knocked away before he then realizes that he had lost his entire right arm. Jachi was curious if the rumors about the sword of courage were true, if it can indeed harm a Demon King. So he tosses Hallow's sword back to him and asked him to use it against him. Hallow, now with only one arm, was furious as the Demon King mocked him, and enraged tried to use the sword of courage to cut Jachi but failed miserably as the sword broke on contact with Jachi. The Demon King had absolute superiority over Hallow and his party, as the manga states that to win against one's natural predator or enemy is simply impossible. Hallow, now in complete fear, is then blasted away by Jachi out of the demon's castle, with Jachi deeming the limits of human capabilities laughable. Hallow, now falling to the ground, is chased by Pan Pan as he tries to save him while Hallow passes out. We then get a flashback of about 9 years ago when Zabi, Hallow's elder brother, was showing him some magic. Zabi explains that summoning magic pretty much just teleports things, as he shows Hallow summoning an apple and then reveals that the apple was just teleported from a nearby apple tree. But then Zabi says that if you mess up the magic circle used in summoning magic and perform a summoning spell, the apple still appears, but it's not from the apple tree. And Zabi explains that the apple-like thing that's not an apple just appears out of nowhere, and questions where exactly the apple comes from with great enthusiasm. Young Hallow simply responds he doesn't know, as Zabi says Hallow was always better at moving his body than using his head, as we flash forward back to the present. Hallow wakes up to see Pan, as Pan says that they were swept far downstream from Jachi's castle. Hallow sees his wounds have been treated, and it's revealed that some folks that just happened to be passing by treated Hallow's wounds before Zabi, Hallow's elder brother in the present, walks in. Hallow of course was confused why Zabi was there. Zabi reveals that he and his party, along with other mages, were sent out after the heroes with a task of their own. Zabi says that the heroes were meant to distract the Demon Kings as the mages performed their task. Hallow was disappointed in himself and sad for all the other heroes who failed in their quest and died or were captured, as Zabi tries to console him. Zabi says it's all important for their plan, but before Hallow could ask what the magic's plan was, a giant storm began to form. Zabi explains that remember the apple-like thing that was summoned from nowhere? He tells Hallow that it was summoned from another world and that mages were sent out to draw a gigantic summoning circle that covers the entire earth to summon another world. Demons that came for Hallow then showed up and attacked everyone. During the fight, Zabi says that the plan was a success, with Hallow going crazy with all hope lost. Zabi says that they wouldn't have to be the ones fighting anymore and tells Hallow to run before the demons were suddenly all massacred by an unknown third party. Then it's revealed that the soldiers from another world, the one that the mages summoned, had come to help Hallow and everyone. Looking at the soldiers' appearance, they wore futuristic armor and used guns that easily took down the demons. Zabi, Pan and everyone else except Hallow, now cheerful that they can be saved by humankind from a world with a history totally different from theirs, because as it turns out, the other merges were summoning a whole entire other world. So basically, this is now two worlds linked together. All the demons were defeated as Pan and Zabi were jovial over the otherworldly human weapons. The humans, from what we see, who were from our own kind of modern world, take off their mask and reveal the biggest twist you'll ever see. It turns out that mankind in their own world was also in crisis, and humans were on the brink of extinction there as well. And then they ask for the help of Hallow and the others, ending the chapter in the biggest conundrum I've ever seen. Now the enemies of the other world threatening mankind wasn't revealed in this chapter, but as we see, their world was probably in more chaos than Hallow's world, with modern day skyscrapers exploding and collapsing everywhere. So big twist ending this one. Two worlds with humanity fighting for their own continuous existence, almost as if Zabi and the other mages summoned the worst possible world out there. You know, summoning a world with a certain caped baldy wouldn't have been too bad. And in a sense, this kind of is an isekai, because I mean, we have characters moving from one parallel universe or one parallel earth to another. I will be covering chapter 2 and release the video on Wednesday, so please like and subscribe to see that. That's all for me, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in 2 days time.